Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure reimagination. This week we are talking about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and its later iteration, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was directed by Mel Stuart and released in 1971 by Paramount Pictures. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was directed by Tim Burton and released in 2005. How do these two movies, filmed 34 years apart from each other, compare and contrast? And which one will win the lifetime supply of chocolate? Let's find out. Welcome back to Effing It Up. Welcome back, feral listeners. We're slowly but surely making our way through January. Is everybody excited for it to be over? Has it felt like 1,000 years in 1 month? Yes. Yes, it has. How are you doing over there, pal?
I'm doing all right. Just checking my phone. It is in fact February now, but it does still feel like January.
Oh my god.
I'm also dead inside.
Oh my god.
I'm so tired.
Man, that seasonal depression is just...
Is that what it is?
I think it is. Seasonal depression, state of the world, you know.
State of the world.
All right, here's our summary for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, because really they follow near identical plot lines. All right. Charlie Bucket is a poor kid living in a small home with his parents and grandparents. Their town is home to the Wonka Chocolate Factory, a magical place that hasn't been open to the public in 20 years. That is, until the enigmatic Mr. Wonka announces a competition. 5 golden tickets in millions of chocolate bars. The lucky 5 winners will win a lifetime supply of chocolate bars and, even better, a tour of the factory. What lies inside the factory is beyond anyone's pure imagination. Pure imagination. Giving myself 2 options for that.
I thought you were translating.
No, I just want to have options for later in case I
like
decide I really don't want that in the
I want
episode.
you to do that for the rest of the episode. You sing a line and then you speak it. The whole episode.
Maybe I'll rap.
Even better!
My mom asked me, she said, what was Laurel's opinion about both these movies? And I was like, well, it's going to depend on Laurel's background with these
Very
films.
wise,
so I'm
very
very
insightful.
curious. What are your backgrounds with both these movies?
Well, first of all, I have not seen the Gene Wilder version in many years, and I did see it as a kid, and it traumatized me. So
Same.
That's
Same.
background there.
Yep.
I've only seen it maybe once or twice. I think at least twice. And then Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp I've seen a good few times.
I knew it.
And I was watching the movie and I was like, Maya's gonna hate my take.
Should we dive into characters
Yeah,
then?
let's do it.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the characters in the old movie. Or we can jump back and forth too.
Yeah, actually, since like they do all compare, we could do a nice jumping back and forth if we wanted to.
Okay. Let's start with the old Willy Wonka. Go ahead, Laurel.
One word comes to mind: unhinged.
Actually, I wrote the same
He
one.
is scary. You wrote unhinged.
Yeah.
That's. Oh my word, he's so scary, but Gene Wilder is perfection.
He's a perfect man.
He is a perfect man.
I have to throw in my fun fact. So that roll that he does in
Yes.
the beginning when he like wobbles out on his cane and then somersaults.
Where he's like with his hand, like where's the?
He wanted that in the movie, and so he specifically said, I need that in there. And they're like, why? Like, why is this scene important? He's like, because from that point on, no one will know whether I'm lying or telling the truth.
And he's right.
He's right. He is the most sinister character.
Sinister,
Yeah.
yes. He's so scary because you're like, is he good? Is he evil?
Yeah.
Is he here to like show off? Is he here to kill us? Like, what is happening? Oh my word, he scares me. I feel
Yes.
unsafe whenever he's on screen.
Yes. I was definitely traumatized by the character as a child and by this entire movie. Specifically the tunnel scene.
Okay, the tunnel scene, yes. The part that traumatized me most as a kid was at the end when he like suddenly shuts himself off in a room and then he like screams at them for, from my perspective, no reason. To me as a kid, I was like, because yeah, that was the scariest part for me because I didn't understand why
he was yelling.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I would watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with a child. I would not watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with a child.
Yeah. I'll be real honest, I wouldn't watch either with a child.
It's probably smart.
But yeah, let's talk about New Willy Wonka.
What do you think of New Willy Wonka?
There's parts that I like. I'm not like, oh, I hate him. I find the makeup design, I know it's Tim Burton. I find the fact that he's pasty very annoying.
It's interesting because in the flashback to when he's in the jungle, he's not pasty.
Yeah.
So it's like a choice in universe.
Yes.
Like he's applying makeup every day.
That he's grayish. I hate the blue tint. Like, I hate the fact that he looks dead.
Yeah.
Like, I think my thought process is they really went with to make his look weird and made his personality like semi more approachable than like Gene Wilder.
A little less like maybe he's a serial killer.
Yeah. But there's something about like the very squeaky voice that really grates on me.
I love him so much.
I knew it.
I would love to spend so much more time with him. Just, he's my favorite. I love him. I would adopt him.
He gives more serial killer to me than Gene Wilder.
Yeah. Gene Wilder gives more like would snap and go on like a killing spree.
Gene Wilder gives bipolar disorder, but Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka, I think, gives sociopath. Like, he's not processing his emotions correctly, and he struggles with processing them. And that deeply unsettles me.
So I'm just having a flashback.
I was like,
Oh.
about what, buddy?
If they made a like 8-series TV show following Willy Wonka, Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka, I would watch the crap out of that. I'm just saying.
That fits your personality very well. And I don't mean that as a compliment. No,
I know, right? I wasn't taking it as no.
There are things, there's a lot of one-liners
Yeah.
that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, I actually used to like the Tim Burton one better.
Okay.
I think it's as I've aged.
Wild, like.
Yeah, I actually really love the Tim Burton one compared to the original because I'm like, the mystery's not there anymore. He has a backstory. That makes sense to me. But now I'm like, no, he doesn't need a backstory. Yeah. That's the point. He's a whimsical character that's like...
He might not be human.
Yeah, like, you don't know where he came from.
Why does he have access to Oompa Loompa Land when no one else does?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yes. I think the thing I prefer about Gene Wilder's is the fact that he doesn't have a backstory.
Yeah.
And you don't know why he's doing what he's doing until the very end. And then it kind of like starts to make sense.
Yeah.
I don't love the bit with it's like, you don't need your family. You don't need any, like, there's something about it that just really doesn't make sense within the universe too of like, of Count Dooku was my dad and he was a dentist and I can't have candy and that's why I cut contact with him and I'm like, this is just...
It's dumb, but it's Tim Burton.
It's Tim Burton, but I think Tim Burton has executed plot lines better than that, and I know that was not in the original book, not in the source material. No. That was a 100% added.
It was interesting watching the Gene Wilder version that it said the script, because like the credits come on and it says script written by Roald Dahl. I was like, really?
Nope.
Didn't it? Did I read that wrong?
Well, no, but I know the backstory of it is Roald Dahl wrote the original screenplay and then they made adaptations to make it flow better as a film, and Roald Dahl disowned the film.
The Gene Wilder version? But they still put his name on the screen?
Because he wrote the original screenplay. They made adaptations.
Interesting.
But then, like, it came out and it was kind of like the Mary Poppins situation where he saw it and was like, Yes.
Why didn't he like it?
I think there were just deviations from the source material.
Yeah, it's a new medium.
Yeah.
Get over yourself, Roald Dahl.
We'll talk about Roald Dahl at the end a little bit.
He's a piece of work.
Yeah, I have some thoughts about him.
I would love to hear your thoughts, because I'm conflicted on whether he's even a good writer. What other characters did you want to cover?
Let's talk about Charley. Charley Bucket.
Charley Bucket. What a cute name.
Okay. Charley in the original, just an average, kind-hearted kid who's poor and loves candy and wants to take care of his family. I think there is something very genuine in his performance, like just this kind of downtrodden little kid, and then he wins. I was watching it with my mom, and the scene where he opens the chocolate bar after so many like misses and being like, oh, it's not it, it's not it, it's not it, and then like he gets that one candy bar and opens it, and then he's like, his little face lights up.
Yeah.
There's so much like genuine, like he's a very genuine kid.
Like he feels like a kid.
Yes. I love that he and Grandpa Joe make. We'll get to Grandpa Joe. Love that he and Grandpa Joe cause problems in like the fizzy lifting drink room. Because I'm like, yeah, that seems like something a kid would do. Like he makes a mistake because he's a kid. Jumping over to Freddie Highmore, who is a great actor. He's very talented. He's too good.
What? He's adorable.
He's
sassy.
He's angelic. There's nothing sassy about him.
He's a little sassy at the end when he's shining Willy Wonka's shoes.
Yeah. He's an angelic child.
He's angelic.
Like, Mother, Father, I will share this chocolate bar with everyone because
it's
we
my
are
chocolate bar.
It's my chocolate bar.
Do what I want
and
with it.
We're starving to death.
And I will sell my golden ticket.
I will sell my golden ticket. No, Charlie and the Original's like, we're going to the factory. Hell yeah, I'm a winner, bitch. Let's do this.
Yeah, that is kind
Freddie
of
Highmore is like, oh, no, we can't afford it. We need food more. Please take my golden ticket and we'll sell it and make money. And it just, it doesn't have the same effect.
Oh, yeah, I see your point. I take your point.
I gotta talk about the plot line between the two. So everything in this one, like Charlie's just the last one standing in both of these.
Yeah.
But in the...
And then there were none for kids.
Yeah. In the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory one, he's the last one, and then it's like, yeah, you won, let's do it.
Yeah.
I really like the plot line in the Gene Wilder one with the everlasting gobstopper. And so this inside agent goes around to all these kids and says, hey, steal this gobstopper for me. All you gotta do is bring me back one everlasting gobstopper from that factory, and I'll give you everything you've ever wanted. And every other kid takes that offer, takes the gobstopper, but Charlie's the one that takes his gobstopper, puts it back on the table, and is like, you're right, I messed up, here you go.
And the funny thing is that even his grandpa is like, nah, take the gobstopper.
Take the gobstopper.
We're gonna endorse corporate espionage.
We're gonna get this. And he's like, that's not right. And I don't think Charlie ever actually had intentions to take the gobstopper and give it to that weird guy with the scar to begin with.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. But
I
like that was the Willy Wonka and the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Gene Wilder is just looking for someone he can trust to pass the factory onto because people have broken trust in the past.
Yeah, and it makes sense. You're right.
Yeah. I'm getting them confused because it's Willy Wonka and the Factory and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. In Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka's like, yes, you're the last one standing. Wonderful. Excellent. Perfect. Factory is yours. Oh, you want your family to? No, you don't need family. You have me. I'm your family now.
Creepy red flag.
That does not resonate the same way with me as a kid making the choice to be honest at the cost of his own gain.
Yeah, you're right. And it's obviously a harder choice for the original Charlie than for the second Charlie to be like, yeah, I'll give up my family to live in a factory with this creepy dude who's basically killed 4 other kids. Yeah, that sounds like a tough decision. No, you're right. The first one is definitely a more compelling moral choice.
In Tim Burton's version, I think the ending wrapped up a lot nicer. like, it really cuts off very weirdly in the Gene Wilder version. They're just in the elevator. And there's no kind of real resolution apart from, you've won, Charlie, I'm giving you the factory.
And we don't even see the kids again.
Yeah, no.
They could be dead for all we know.
Could be dead.
That really blew my mind because I was like looking forward to seeing like the 4 kids. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize they never make a reappearance.
No. We don't know.
I don't know.
What would you like to say about Charlie?
Oh, I mean, I like them both, but I think despite the fact that he is angelic, I like Freddie Highmore's version more because he feels more like, I don't know, more of like a focus of the story, which it does make sense as Charlie in the Chocolate Factory versus...
Yeah, but I would argue Willy Wonka is the bigger character in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, ironically.
He truly is. Interestingly, in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka does not make an appearance until we're like 40 minutes into the film.
Yep.
I was like, what the heck? Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, I see no Wonkas, I see no factories.
I see no Willys.
Thank goodness. Where are the Willys?
Real quick, though, while we're talking about Willy Wonka, dishonorable mention to Timothée Chalamet.
No, honorable mention.
Dishonorable mention. Absolutely not.
I loved that film.
He looks like Gonzo the Great.
So do I.
I would like for Timothée Chalamet, you do not look like Gonzo the Great. You wish.
I do wish. No, according to Michelle, I look like sassy Paul Revere.
Paul Revere, if he was just a little...
I need to interrupt you because I saw Wonka and I loved it. So...
Of course you would. Of course you would. That's so fitting. That's so fitting to your character.
It was amazing.
Scratch that. Reverse it. Timothy, stop playing beloved characters. Please.
Timothy.
I beseech you. Get some iron in your diet too. You look anemic.
Well, he's just eating chocolate every day. What do
you expect? He needs supplements.
I watched him in Wonka and I was like, all right, I get it. I get why people love this man. He's fun.
Okay, honorable mention to Timothée Chalamet from Laurel. Dishonorable mention from me. Let's talk about Grandpa Joe.
Oh my word, please.
I said in the original one, Charlie's like, oh, Grandpa, that money's for your tobacco. And I said, that asshole should have given up smoking a long time ago. It's also, again, in both versions, I know everybody says this, but it's real convenient that he just suddenly gains the ability to walk after 20 years.
I know.
When it's time to go for a free trip to the chocolate factory.
I think it's even more noticeable in the second one because he's like, I'll go. Like, he offers himself.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, this family's been working themselves to death to feed you and like keep you alive.
I'm stealing a joke from somebody else and I can't remember who it was and I'm so sorry, but the mountain of bed sores is what they call.
I know, right? The fact that he's not entirely atrophied every muscle.
Also, this is horrific, but I'm pretty sure in the one shot, I definitely see a bedpan under the bed in the original one.
I guess that makes sense, because canonically they have not left that bed for 20 years.
I'm like, it's just the implications. The implications of the bed are horrific.
Very true. I'm like, if anyone, Charlie should be taking his mom or his dad, especially in the second one, where like...
my gosh.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I did appreciate in the first one, there is no dad. Mm-hmm. It makes the situation a lot more understandable about why they're so desperate. Mm-hmm. In the second one, I'm like, okay, what's happening here?
Well, also, they are trying to feed 6 adults.
Yeah, but also I was like, why are you not taking your dad with you? Clearly you have a closer relationship with your father.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, it just would make more sense that he would take the dad, because clearly he has a closer relationship with his father than geriatric Grandpa Joe.
His dad looks like he could use a win.
Yeah, I'm like,
take your dad.
Please take your dad.
Please.
Like in the original, it makes a little more sense because the mom's like, okay, well, I'm the only one working. Mm-hmm. I can't take a day off. Mm-hmm. And also, these assholes clearly aren't going to take care of themselves.
They will not survive a day.
The only thing I said about Grandpa Joe in the Tim Burton version is I was like, well, at least he's actually geriatric in this one.
Oh my word. I started watching the Tim Burton one with Andre. He was like, these people are so old. I was like, well, what's the point?
Yeah, Grandpa Joe in the OG one has like white makeup applied to his eyebrows to make him look older. Like he's clearly like early 60s, if even. The other guy.
I forget what the other set of grandparents' names are.
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
But the grandpa from the Tim Burton one, the one that's not Grandpa Joe, he's my favorite character. He just says what he's thinking. Like
he's
old
like,
people
yeah.
do.
He's like, why would you hope?
When he's like, he's like, would you trade? You know, there's all the money in the world. They print more every day. There's only 5 golden tickets, and they're never gonna make more. Only a fool would trade one of these for something as common as money, and that's how he convinces Charley to.
That is pretty cute.
It was so cute. I was like, ow. Geriatric Grandpa Joe. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's awful convenient. You suddenly leap out of bed and start dancing a jig. But you couldn't lift a finger to help feed this family. I mean, again, you are quite old, so what are you gonna do? But still,
yeah,
you can at least like cook,
clean the house, maybe
clean the house,
do something. I did like in the original that I like his childlike wonder. Like again, he feels very real in the original too.
The original Grandpa Joe I prefer actually. He's a problem.
He's a problem. But he's also like, you know, bouncy and like pithy and like
he feels more like he's on Charlie's level.
Yes.
Yeah, like they're partners in crime.
But geriatric turtle looking Grandpa Joe.
The other Grandpa Joe I'm not as like, I don't know. I don't actually have much opinions about him.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's there.
He's a
simp for Willy Wonka, but other than
which is weird.
It's weird, right?
It's really weird. Like
brother.
I'm like,
brother, ew.
But ew. In the original, it's like, oh, he loved working in the factory, and he wants to see the factory again. But
in the original, did he even work in the factory? I might have missed that.
He did work in the factory, but it wasn't like he was like, Willy Wonka is a genius. Yeah. It was like, oh, I loved working in the factory. It was so fun.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd love to see it again.
Yeah.
Is it time to talk about the kids?
Let's talk about the kids.
The kids.
Kids.
You go down through your list and I'll throw my comments in.
I suppose we should start with Augustus Gloop because he's the first to be disposed of.
Yeah. In the original, I'm like, what did he actually do?
I know, right? He's not even like a problem.
He's like a healthy, robust young German lad.
I know.
And they're like, look at that fat kid.
That's so true. But they do the same thing in the second one. Even more.
Yeah.
They're just like hateful.
Like at least they kind of made him a jerk in the second one, so it made a little bit more sense. He's like, oh, do you want some of my candy bar? Oh, well, then you should have brought one. Oh.
I know, but like, why did they attack his physical appearance so much?
Like, they were the old people were sitting in the bed. And they're like, look at that fat kid.
What a disgusting child. I was like, oh my gosh.
And I was like, he's healthy.
And like,
he's a healthy lad.
The second one is like so egregious with its fat shaming. Like, I was like, how is the first movie more progressive from 1971?
No.
Like, the heck?
I was like,
poor actor. Like, imagine watching that film.
I loved him in the first one. He was just a healthy young German.
He literally was just a healthy German lad.
Yeah. Like, yeah, he should have stopped when Willy Wonka said, hey, hands can't touch my chocolate. But then he just fell in and was like, I can't swim. And they're like, we're going to suck you into a pipe.
I know. And Gene Wilder's like, oh no, come back. Police.
Help.
Help.
Okay. I love his reactions in the original.
I know, he's just
like, it's so clear. It's so clear. He could not care less about kids.
No, it's true.
He's just like, oh no, you suck.
I think what's interesting about the original is that he gives the impression of like he doesn't really view the kids as different from the adults in a way.
Yes.
Which is really interesting. Because in a way, like, as a kid, that would make you feel flattered, but also, like, then he does not care more about their safety because they're children.
Yep.
Then the second one to be disposed of, I think, is Violet. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Beauregard.
I love her in both versions. Mm-hmm. Her in the original when she is on TV and she's like, and I've been chewing my gum for the longest time. Take that, Cordelia. Cordelia, hi, sweetie. I'm winning. Suck it. I'm like, you're a delight. I think it's Anna Sophia Robb who plays her in the Tim Burton version. She's really fun.
She's so fun.
But I love her in the original. I'm like, she is unhinged.
She seems like such a real kid.
Yeah. The little transatlantic accent. I'm like, that's great. Like, Anna Sophia Robb is just like, I'm a winner. I am a winner, and I'm gonna keep chewing this gum. And that's why I'm a winner and not a loser. The mom.
I don't know what that lady's name is. She's everywhere. She is so funny in every single role. My thing about Violet and Veruca in the second movie, I love them so much. My headcanon is that, like, they defeat Willy Wonka and they take over the factory and they run it, like, better than it's ever been run before.
I did see this post one time that was like, Violet should have won.
Yeah.
Would have won the she's pragmatic, she's driven and she loves candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think Violet and Veruca, like, once they, you know, get over some of their
issues,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, we are going to need to talk about Veruca.
Okay, should we talk about her next?
Yeah.
All right, Veruca sucks.
The worst one. Clearly the worst one.
The one who maybe deserved a little bit of a bit of readjustment.
Yeah, I'm sorry. She deserved to go down the trash chute. I think that was fair. Her in the original, I wrote one of her quotes down when she's like, when the poor workers are undoing all the chocolate bars. She goes, "Make them work faster, Daddy. What are those twats doing down there?" And she goes, "Make them work nights."
She's so funny.
She's an abject asshole of a kid. Like, she's the only one out of all of them that I'm like, yeah, throw her in the garbage. She's terrible.
She is terrible, and yet it's clear that her parents are to blame. Like, if anyone should be going down the garbage chute, it's her parents.
Yes, and he does.
And he does.
Yes.
Correct. As he should. He should.
I think that her going down the garbage chute was a good intro into helping fix her behavioral issues.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so after this happens, I think she, like, and Violet. Thank you.
Veruca and Violet.
Veruca and Violet, like, team up and take down Willy Wonka.
That's a terrible headcanon.
I love it so much. See, because you give Charlie the chocolate factory, what does he know? He's gonna run that place into the ground in a week.
Yeah, Willy Wonka.
Oompa Loompas will be out in their
Willy Wonka also should have run the factory into the ground in a week. We're not talking about people who have actual business experience here. Okay.
Mike TV.
Also,
what has he done wrong?
Yeah, he's done nothing wrong.
You know what? I changed my mind. It's Mike TV and Violet who run the place, because he's clearly got the brains. Veruca, yeah, she goes down the garbage chute. I've changed my mind.
Yeah.
Mike TV.
And Violet. I don't know. I still think Mike's like a little shit. Like he'd be one of those kids where it's like you're watching him in VBS and you're like, God, please shut up. like he's objectively annoying.
He's annoying, but like he's a kid.
Yeah, he's not a villain. Veruca, I think, is a villain.
Yeah, you know what? I've entirely changed my mind.
Veruca is
like that.
Is the epitome of capitalism at its worst. I think she's a metaphor for capitalism, and that's why she went to the garbage chute.
I think she's a metaphor for classism.
Also, yeah.
And that's why she went in the chute.
Another word for capitalism, but
interesting take. Welcome to Political Commentary with Maya.
I did warn you. If you made me too mad, I was going to start doing political commentary.
Let's talk about 8 seasons. Maya's fuming.
I'm like, that's it. We're talking
no more than 5. I don't actually have much more to say about Mike. Yeah, I think he could run the place with Violet.
Yeah.
I think they'd make a power team.
Yeah. I think my thought process is Charley has the moral compass to run the factory well in a respectable way. Maybe it won't make the most money.
Not abuse the Oompa Loompas like probably the others would.
Yeah.
Certainly Veruca would.
That's a dark take.
Speaking
of...
No, you go.
Speaking of the Oompa Loompas, I do love their design in the original.
Yes.
I love
they're
that.
better in
I
the original.
love that they're orange with green hair. Do they have green hair?
I can't remember.
I always forget.
That movie could be in black and white for all I remember.
Oh my god. I just think they're very fun characters. I love their songs in the original.
They're individuals, right? They don't all look exactly the same in the original. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they have like.
They're similar.
They're very similar, but it's clearly a bunch of
They're
different
not
people.
clones.
It's a bunch of different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird.
Yeah. I need to talk about the Tim Burton version. I should say the actor his name is Deep Roy.
Okay.
That's fantastic. He actually is 4'4".
Oh wow. I didn't know that.
He actually has a diminutive stature. And he does all the Oompa Loompas. He did do separate performances for all the Oompa Loompas. It wasn't
Wow.
that he did one performance and then they copied it. He did separate performances, which I think is great.
It's a lot.
The songs, terrible. I fast forwarded through most of them and I was like, this is so boring. I don't love the design of like the little tracksuits.
It's weird, right?
Somehow going into the Oompa Loompa backstory and like showing it made it more horrifying.
I agree. It felt kind of racist.
Yeah, I was like, I don't
Again,
like
speaking
this.
about how the 1971 felt more progressive, the whole thing with like the Indian prince, weirdly racist.
Yeah.
The Oompa Loompas like worshipping the cacao bean.
Yeah,
Weirdly racist.
like
I was,
like it's kind of just a throwaway line of like, oh, I was exploring this other
Yeah.
place and like they kind of had a terrible place to live, so I offered them jobs here
yeah, where they can work for me.
Yeah.
In my dungeon.
in my dungeon.
I did not. I don't
Again,
know.
it's like the bed. The implications of the Oompa Loompas are not good.
They're not great. They're not great.
Which
It's like,
in every version they're not great, but it's worse when you expand upon it.
not only does he like take them from their home, they're now fully reliant on him for food, for like a place to live.
Yeah.
For like being a part of anything, because they will be considered outsiders if they try to leave. Like they don't have any other options besides Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
They better keep him happy.
Which is terrifying, terrible.
Terrifying. Yeah.
I hate that he makes those weird noises to summon them. That's also another weirdly racist take. Like,
Yeah.
it's very fun in the
Yeah.
original where he just whips out a little pipe randomly and goes...
That's weird too, though. I don't know. That's also weird.
It's weird, but so much more
It's better.
whimsical.
Yeah, it's better.
It's not, oh, here's a language I made up that might be theirs.
Yeah, I agree. I think the second film is a bit problematic.
Yeah. Which is, it's really weird that the 2005 is racking up more problematic points than the 1971.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of accusations where they're like, Tim Burton never really cast black people in his films.
Oh, interesting.
And I think someone brought it up to him one time and he was like, well, it's like they just don't fit the vibe.
What?
So here's Tim Burton's quote, and this is centered around a comment Burton had made regarding the lack of diversity in his movie career as a whole. And he said, I remember back when I was a child watching The Brady Bunch and they started to get all politically correct, like, okay, let's have an Asian child and a black child. I used to get more offended by that than just... I grew up watching blaxploitation movies, right? He said, and I said, that's great. I didn't go like, okay, there should be more white people in these movies.
Having an Asian child on screen is political correctness that offends you?
Mm-hmm.
What the heck? I don't know how to break this to him, but Asian children exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, Tim Burton's been a red flag for a while, but I
He
just
is a
wanted
red flag.
to throw that in there. I think it's also a red flag that the Roald Dahl estate was like, oh yeah, like we really appreciate Tim Burton's vision. He worked with us very closely on this film. Should we start talking about atmosphere?
Yeah.
In the old versus new.
Yeah. I was not expecting music in the first one.
Yeah.
And speaking of like bad songs, that music was boring.
In the original.
In the original, I mean, they're both kind of boring.
Are both pretty boring. It's weird that the only music in the Tim Burton one is the Oompa Loompa songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like 5 Oompa Loompa songs.
I was not expecting any music other than Oompa Loompas because I hadn't seen the first one in a long
Yeah.
time. So when they started singing, I was like, what the heck?
What?
What what's happening?
Yeah, no, it's full on a musical.
It's a musical, but it's like, why is it so boring?
I said for the old one, I was like, it's very charming and very sinister.
Yeah.
And I said, and also very silly.
Yeah.
I said the intro reminded me of the Hershey's chocolate ride.
Yes!
Before they added the singing cows.
I was gonna say, Milton Hershey is Pennsylvania's Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
I liked the singing cows.
Of course you like this.
But okay, I'll say this. I liked it when there was just one set of singing cows, not spread throughout. Like now there's multiple singing cows, right?
I didn't need any.
Yeah, no, one singing cow.
I liked when it was just educational. Do you know how bad it has to be for a child to say, you know, I prefer when it's just educational?
Yeah, that is bad. I went on that ride when I was a kid, and you know the part where you get roasted?
Yes.
And you go through the tunnel, it's like just slightly warm. That
Yeah.
always terrified me.
Oh,
as a
same.
child.
Same. But that was like that was kind of the fun.
Yeah.
I'll compare actually both these movies to the Hershey's Chocolate Tour ride.
Yeah.
I preferred the original.
Yeah.
It's not that the new one is bad. It just is silly and lighter in a way that it doesn't need to be, because part of the fun of it was being just a little bit scared.
Yeah.
As a kid.
I compared the two films, and I said, this is pretty much what you just said. I said the second one feels safer, but more mean-spirited. Which is really
Yes.
weird. Yeah.
I said for the original, the 70s of it all is also very delightful.
Yeah, it is.
I appreciate how it feels very tangible and real. The factory has like the old curling iron spires. It kind of looks like a real factory, but it also has a lot of natural light.
Yeah.
And
the chocolate making sequence in the first one, like in the beginning, better than far better, because the second one just looks like CG.
Yeah, the water in the chocolate water in the original, terrible. Terrible. Looks like dirt water.
Augustus Gloop comes out and he's literally just brown water dripping off his face.
Yeah. Tim Burton's looks like real chocolate.
Yeah.
I have to give Tim Burton credit for using so many practical effects. A lot of it looks CGI because it's very stylized. But like that candy room, that was a real set. They put a ton of real candy in there. The chocolate river apparently was real, or at least parts of it were.
That's crazy.
I was like, that's wild. That scene where Augustus Gloop is swirling like a toilet, though, that looks very CGI to me. That does not hold up well.
That room was magical.
The squirrels. They used real squirrels for parts of it. So they trained a bunch of squirrels from birth.
That's insane. What?
But then they cut, and then there's obviously CGI squirrels.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
That's crazy.
Close, but no cigar.
Close, but...
I like the coziness of the house. I like the contrast of dark and drab London to the brightness in some parts of the factory.
Yeah, no, I agree. The contrast is much more significant.
But the factory also looks very sterile and too futuristic in a lot of parts to me.
I really thought the scenery inside the chocolate factory was a lot more magical in the second one, because, like you said, in the first one it looks more like a real factory, but in some ways that makes it feel less magical.
But I like the fun house touches.
Yeah.
I love when they go into the weird small room and then they're like... It just feels kind of like spooky in a different way. I love the hands that hold your jackets for you. I like kind of like the weird touches that I would expect more of from Tim Burton. Instead of it's just very futuristic and you just go from one room to the other.
Yeah. The original feels more like it could exist.
Yeah.
Too. Like a lot of that stuff, you feel like it could be done.
Because it's all practical.
Yeah.
That's the only option that you have.
Yeah.
Except for that one green screen moment in the fizzy lifting drinks room. Like everything's practical. I'll just say one more thing.
Yeah, please.
I know that the beginning in the original one is so long till they get to the factory.
It's so long.
It's so long. I love the dark jokes that they threw into the ticket finding montage. The part where they are on the phone and they're like, your husband has been kidnapped, and they said they want your golden ticket, or they want your chocolate bars.
Chocolate, yeah. It wasn't even.
And then she said, How long would they give me to think about?
Maya, when you talk about the 70s-ness of that film, like, the whole opening, like, 40 minutes before we even get to the factory, honestly, it's so long, but it is not boring.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
so fun.
there's definitely parts where it drags. I'll give it that. But, like, that part of the montage, I was dying.
I know, right? I was like, I do not remember this.
I was like, this is my kind of humor. Like, I think that the humor in the original is just speaks to me more than the 2005.
I laughed more watching the 2005 one, but I think it's because, like, the humor of the original one you can enjoy without laughing in a weird way. I don't know how to
Yes.
explain it.
You're like, oh, that's great.
I know, I'm enjoying it. I'm just not laughing out loud.
Yeah. I did laugh out loud at the, no, stop, wait, come back.
I want to know how much of that film Gene Wilder ad-libbed, because it feels so ad-libbed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's constantly, like, quoting Shakespeare and poetry, and I'm like, what the heck? Like,
Like, what are you doing?
And
And then Johnny Depp's like, you smell like soap and old people.
yeah.
And I'm not
God,
saying it's
that's
terrible.
weird.
It's just different.
It's very different, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because we talk, like, we want them to bring something new to the table, and they definitely did. I do think, like, in Wonka, they didn't really bring something entirely new to the table. Because I liked that film. I did. I really enjoyed it. But,
I know.
It did feel very much like he was borrowing from Gene Wilder, and it was so plot heavy, it was so crammed with plot that there wasn't a lot of room for him to experiment. Like, I think they gave Johnny Depp and Gene Wilder both
A lot of room.
to
make the character their own.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. Sad that they didn't get that in Wonka, but
Should we go into some Roald Dahl slander?
let's slander him. I'm so excited.
So I wrote this down. I said, a word about Roald Dahl, who, as we know, despite writing some iconic children's literature, was also kind of a dick who clearly didn't like kids.
That's what I've been saying all along, Maya. No
Yep.
one would write Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory unless he did not like kids.
Yeah. Let's talk about the things that kids get punished for in this movie.
Yes! Oh, you were saying exactly what I'm thinking.
Chewing gum, talking over adults, watching TV,
Like, just
like being kids.
being kids. Totally normal kids.
Except for Veruca. Veruca is a monster.
Yeah, she kind of is.
I have to give credit where credit is due. It would take a lot of therapy to fix that child.
Yeah. True. Veruca is a monster. But yeah, I have been saying this exact thing.
Oh, eating too much?
Oh yeah, eating too much. Like, enjoying chocolate.
Being a slightly robust child?
Yeah.
Not being a stick-thin kid?
Not being literally starved due to poverty.
Yeah.
Evil from the river.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, is he even a good writer? Because the, like, Glass Elevator, not a good book. And, like, The Giant Peach,
Yeah.
not really a good book.
Kind of lame.
I love the Fantastic Mr. Fox film, the book. So boring. Why is Roald Dahl this famous writer?
Because he had fun ideas, not great execution.
Yeah,
and
I
people
think you're
took
right.
his work and, let's face it, did things better with them.
They
The
made him
Roald
better.
Dahl estate is literally going to come and kill me. in
Ah,
this
yeah,
sleep.
right. I think I'm more scared of the Roald Dahl estate than I am of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Mickey Mouse is just motivated by money. Roald Dahl is like
Motivated by self-righteousness.
So
Oh my god. They're literally going to kill me. If I die, someone look into the Roald Dahl estate, please. I think they did it.
Yeah.
I did write down a quote from Eleanor Cameron, who's another children's book author. But there's a whole Wikipedia thing that says Charley and the Chocolate Factory controversy. So I'm directly quoting the Wikipedia article here, but I think Laurel's just going to enjoy hearing this, and I think everybody else will too. So all credit to Wikipedia specifically for this part of the episode. From October 1972 to October 1973, a controversy started by Cameron concerning Roald Dahl's Charley and the Chocolate Factory embroiled the pages of the Horn Book magazine. In a 3-part essay entitled McLuhan Youth and Literature, Cameron criticized the controversial theories of media theorist Marshall McLuhan. In part one, she described Dahl's book as one of the most tasteless books ever written for children, and described it as sadistic and phony. She was especially chagrined by its use as a classroom read-aloud. And Dahl replied in February 1973 issue of Hornbook. He wrote that Cameron was entitled to her opinion about his book, but that she attacked his character as well. He also scoffed at her recommendation that teachers find better literature to share with their students. I would dearly like to see Miss Cameron trying to read Little Women or Robinson Crusoe, for that matter, to a class of today's children. This lady is completely out of touch with reality. She would be howled out of the classroom. Elsewhere in her essay, Cameron decried the Oompa Loompas, who were portrayed as abused, half-naked African pygmy slaves. The pictures and descriptions of the Oompa Loompas in Charley were revised by Dahl and his publisher Knopf for the 1973 edition to make the characters into dwarves from Loompa Land, whom Willy Wonka adores. The brief amount of time between the criticism and the publication of the revised edition of Charley makes it likely that the changes had already been put in motion by the time the essay was published. So this is talking about Tim Burton working on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Tim Burton was hired to direct after receiving enthusiastic approval from the Dahl estate. And then Lisi Dahl commented that Burton was the first and only director the estate was happy with. He had previously produced another of the author's adaptations with James and the Giant Peach, which is the 1996 animated film. And, like Roald Dahl, disliked the 1971 film because it strayed from the book's storyline. And Tim Burton said, "As a child, Dahl was the author who I connected to the most. He got the idea of writing a mixture of light and darkness and not speaking down to kids, and the kind of politically incorrect humor that kids get. I've always liked that, and it shaped everything I felt that I've done." Burton was also showed the original handwritten manuscripts of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which Burton discovered were more politically incorrect than the published book. The manuscripts included a child named Herpes after the sexually transmitted infection.
I think Roald Dahl was a bad person. Although his response to being criticized at least was like not entirely unfounded, because I do think it would be difficult to read Little Women or whatever other.
I would agree, except I grew up reading Little Women and having Little Women read to me.
Surely there are other books out there.
There are other books. It doesn't have to be Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I grew up with a lot of different books being read to me, and I think we can give children credit for being a little smarter than that.
Children credit for enjoying a book even when they don't understand 100% of it. See, adults think they have to understand what's going on. You forget that when you're a kid and you're reading, 50% of what's happening you can't really grasp. At least when I was a kid, I was reading stuff and I was like, I have no idea what this means, but I'm having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading a book one time, and they were describing people listening to recorded sound for the first time on a device they'd never seen before, and they described it as like a flat black tortilla. And I, as a child, had never heard of a vinyl record before. And I remember just reading that and being like, the what? I don't know how to picture this. Okay. And just kept reading. But looking back, I think was like a great part of my reading experience, just being like, okay, they're saying words. I don't know what they mean, but...
Should I wrap this up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
What would you like to say about Roald Dahl?
I honestly don't think he was a very good writer. I think he did that kind of seat of your pants writing that works for some people, but I don't think it worked for him.
I think he had good ideas. I don't think the execution was good. And I kind of think he was a racist piece of garbage.
Yeah. And like you said, I don't think he liked children.
He was a racist piece of garbage that didn't like children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, arguably, people will crap on Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
And I think rightfully so for some of the, I'll say, illustrations that were done in early Dr. Seuss work. But I don't think he's nearly as problematic as Roald Dahl.
I feel like Theodore Geisel showed character development where Roald Dahl did not. That's my theory.
Yep. So I'll just finish this by saying whatever Roald Dahl intended with his book, both iterations of this movie transcended it in their own ways. And we'll come to our question. Did the remake add anything of value to the original? Did it justify the movie being made? The original Willy Wonka is tricky to beat. It has the charm of an old movie musical, the silliness of a parody movie like Airplane, but also is as family-friendly as a TV Land special, and it stars the incomparable Gene Wilder and an excellent ensemble cast. However, the Tim Burton Charlie and the Chocolate Factory truly has a life of its own, capturing the weirdly dark yet whimsical nature of the book while making some minor updates for a more modern audience. While I personally greatly prefer the 1971 version, the 2005 film absolutely justifies its existence. It's worth watching both, and I guarantee that there are some people, Laurel, who grew up with and love the Johnny Depp version even more.
I fear you're right.
Anyway, everyone, thanks again for listening. Join us next episode when we talk Jumanji! Old versus new. And as always, keep it feral. Later, skaters. Thank you for listening to another episode of Effing It Up. If you're enjoying these episodes, please like and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram at _effingitup_ or on our YouTube channel where we post the video format of our show. If you have content that you want us to cover, we want to hear about it. Feel free to DM us on Instagram or leave us a comment on our YouTube channel. Thank you again.